Alright, welcome back, folks. This is going to be probably kind of a long video because I'm going to do separate segments. And I could break those segments up into single videos, but they're going to be 3 or 4 minutes long. Doesn't make sense to me. So I'm going to go ahead and just do it all in one. We'll be jumping around a little bit. So this is the development version of Inkstitch. And I would say current, but it's not. I'm close. If I go to About, I am using the Update Tartan GUI development build. And just so you know ahead of time, there's some changes between what you're used to now in Inkstitch 3.0.1 and the next version. I'm going to call it Inkstitch 4. I don't know what they're going to call it, but let's just say the next version. Main thing being is the realistic simulator preview has moved. So if I come down to the visualize and export, I no longer have simulator / realistic preview. If I go into simulator, I get the stitching simulator with a very clean little display here. But you'll notice there's a button missing. And I'm not sure what to think about that yet. I'll get back to you on that. But here's the realistic preview, or the simulator. No realistic preview button. The realistic preview is now under Inkstitch, Visualize, Stitch Plan Preview, and then you have this, which can do that. Realistic, high quality, just go realistic, doesn't matter. And then hit apply. That's where your realistic preview is. In this particular development version, now I can go to the stitch plan and I can remove that and I'm back to normal. So the realistic preview looks like it's going just on top. And if I go to github.com/Inkstitch /Inkstitch /releases, you get the releases. And if I look for the one that I have, Update Tartan GUI. So I'm pretty far back. That was released 5 days ago, 4 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 hours ago, 7 hours ago, 9 hours ago, 4 hours ago. So there's been several. Click assets. There's your downloadable assets right there. I'm going to go ahead and grab this one, assuming that all of these other ones are in that build as well. I think it should be. So we're going to get this one. And I need the RPM version for OpenSUSE Tumbleweed. We'll close that out. We'll close out Inkscape. So what I'm going to try is just to install that version and hope it removes the old one. I think it should. I have several ink stitches, and one of those being the ridge basket that I just got. So we're going to try to install that one. .01_R tab. Okay, that's the one. Go ahead and hit enter. At least on OpenSUSE, it'll tell you that the signing certificate isn't right or missing, and that's fine. I've never had an issue with it. Just hit I for ignore. It actually didn't say anything about removing the old one. Let's see what we end up with. Inkstitch. There is no Inkstitch. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. Go ahead and do a sudo zipper remove Inkstitch. Yes. And then reinstall that ridge basket version. And let's see what we have now. If that doesn't work, we'll go back and get the previous Kayleen, the most recent Kayleen. There's an Inkstitch about version GOS update. That's the one that we just installed, so we're good. Okay, now that we have the most recent version of development version, I need to emphasize that if you're going to try out a development version, know that it's a development version and not a stable release. So you may have bugs, you may get crashes, closures, that sort of thing. And that's just part of running a development version. It's a development version because it's not yet released as a stable version, like 3.0.1 is. Now, if you do end up trying out the latest development version, and you do come across a bug, file your bug report in that github.com Inkstitch issues area, and give them all the information that you can. Operating system, what version of operating system you're using. For example, Windows 10, Windows 11. If you're running Linux, is it OpenSUSE Tumbleweed? Is it an Ubuntu variant, something like that? And Apple, if you're running Mojave or some other version, it's good for them to know which version you're running so that they have something to go on. And then they probably will ask you additional information questions later on, but it will help the project. You can actually do that and help everybody that uses Inkstitch to avoid that potential problem. And I've done development testing of various softwares over the years, probably pretty close to 20 years now. I've been doing some kind of development testing. When I did the video I think a couple months ago about development version, one of my most common replies or responses that I got from that was, "New fonts, please." So in this video, I'm going to show you new fonts coming. Ask and ye shall receive. So this is going to make a lot of us ink stitchers very happy. And some of them are really nice. So our lettering's going to fire up. I have a virtual machine running on this side over here of a stable release of Ubuntu with Inkstitch 3.0.1, and I'm going to compare specifically what we might have as new fonts. Okay. All of that's the same. Emetic Glow, small, Apex Lake. Apex Simple. Marif, Aventuria, Bartex, Bauman's Fee. In the old version, there's no fee small. This one has a fee small. Brock, cats. There's no cats in the old version. Let's see what cats looks like. Interesting. That's cool. I like it. Okay. Let's continue on. Cats. I know we have Cherry, Inkstitch, Cherry Colleen, Chicken Little. There's no Chicken Little. Nice. That looks pretty nice. And there's no Chicken Scratch. All right. Chicken Scratch. Okay. Go ahead and cancel out of that. Let me go back to. I gotta find it again. Font management and font sampling. This will give me the same list, and then I can do Let's do cats, hit apply. So there's all your cats. So that's what font sampling does. That's pretty cool. So if I go right over the top of that, will it switch it? Or add to it? Oh, and that's mine. Alrighty. So I'll have to see what that is and figure it out, because it's actually the one that I made, telling me it's out of date. Alright, colorful. I know we don't have a colorful. Alright, colorful. Let's see what that looks like. It looks like there's a lot of colors in colorful. Makes sense, right? There it goes. Oh, wow. Wow. There's a lot of colors in that. So the design pattern is actually part of the new version, and I'll show you some of that later on. And the way that satin stitch around there looks, that is also part of the new one, and I'll show you that too. Okay. Let's see. Doodle's Vein. Yep, got that one. All of the Emilios we've got. Okay, here's Emilio Tartan. The Tartan is a new fill in the new version, in the development version of Inkstitch. So the Tartan is going to be new. So I know that one's not in the old one. That's actually spinning up my fans. But, well, I also have a virtual machine running and a completely another operating system. So there is that. So there's your tartan. That was what the other one was too, along with that neat little that new satin stitch. So it's kind of the same thing. This is very university looking. I like it. All right, let's continue on. Espresso we already had. All these we had. Geneva. That one we don't have. Inversilia. Okay. We do not have Inversilia. Ah, the words are still there. Neat. That's cool. All right, continuing on. Cushion Learning Lobster. Olia. That one, Millimorph. We do not have a Millimorph. Pretty basic. I like it. It's very blocky. Cool X. The T is quite a ways away from the E there, but that'd be an easy thing to move over. So that's not too bad. Monica. Okay, here's another tartan. Nick Ainley. I don't think we have a Nick Ainley. Yes, we do. Okay, we do not have an Undulamarif. Oof. Oh. Oh, that's cool. Those are lines. I love that. Very nice. Very nice. Those are lines. That's cool. there's a medium and a small, and XL. Guessing that's just going to be an extra large. So that we have Roaring 20s. I don't think we have a Roaring 20s. Yep, very 20s. Yep. Alrighty. Let's see. I think that's, oh, no, violin. Oh, that's nice. Violin serif. That is very nice. And we will look at the, okay. We are locking up. We have locked up. Okay, so complete lockup. Can't blame it on Inkscape and Inkstitch. I also had a virtual machine running a completely another operating system on at the same time, so I was making my computer do a lot of things just then. And I actually didn't have to restart anything once I shut down the virtual machine, and it gave me a not responding error. So I think that's what was happening. And the final script or font is a Japanese script font. And it doesn't appear that it's going to write anything, so I don't know. I don't know. So we'll move along. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go through some of the new things coming in the development version. And I know I did one of these videos, I think about a couple months back. A lot has changed since then. And to be honest with you, I don't remember exactly what was in that video. So I'm just going to act like I never did it. And we're going to look at some new stuff coming. So if I do a basic shape, Inkstitch params. We are on fill stitch, and the autofill is what we all know it as. We also have circular fill, which we did before, I think. We have contour fill, which honestly, I use contour fill often. I love contour fill. And most of the time I use contour fill without underlay. We have guided fill, which I had before, linear gradient fill. Meander fill, which I've shown you how to use that to great effect. My next video, I'm actually going to use gradient fill, meander fill, and I'll show you shortly that you can do a satin stitch in a multicolor. I'm going to show you that here in a minute, what it looks like, how it works, and then my next video, I'm actually going to digitize for hat using this meander fill and that multicolor satin stitch. And I think it's going to come out pretty neat. So that is the meander fill, which we've had before. We also have a tartan fill. This is what you saw before with multiple color in those fonts. Okay, so when working with tartan, you go Inkstitch, Tools Fill, and you have a tartan button right there. Now you can set your multicolor tartan. Very similar to the way that it was in the some of those fonts. So if we set a red here, select, and then we set a blue, and then select. So there you have your multiple color tartan. And that is just cool. It's just really cool. And I think the black is the underpath. Yeah. And then hit apply. Now if you go into extensions, Inkstitch params, fill underlay, turn off the underlay. it should get rid of the black, and it certainly did. It certainly did. Outstanding. Love it. So there's your tartan. And legacy fill, which we all know about. I'm going to go ahead and show you the satin stitch. One of the neatest things I think is coming is a multiple color satin stitch. I think that's really neat. I'm going to change this to no fill and give it a stroke. Give it a stroke of, we'll say, we'll go with about 4. 4 mil. Let's go ahead and do extensions Inkstitch tool satin, convert line to satin. One of the greatest things about the new version coming is when you convert a line to satin that's a square or circle, it no longer cuts it into 2 segments. It will remain 1 segment. So I have one path that is the entire square of satin stitch. That is just absolutely awesome. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to show you real quick since we're on satin stitches, and I'm fixing to show you the multicolor satin stitch. Before I do, there's another new satin stitch thing. We do a satin stitch and then we switch to params. Under the method, you got regular satin column, you got the E stitch that we've always had. Now you have an S stitch. And that's what some of those fonts were using, was this S stitch. And if we zoom in, you can see. So that is a new satin stitch option. And that's pretty cool. That's what some of those new fonts that we were looking at was using for the clean edge look. I am going to make a couple of changes. I'm going to change this to that and that, so that it'll go into those corners a little bit less abruptly. And one more. Okay, so now my corners will be a little easier on the eyes. And now we're going to look at the multiple color satin stitch. So now we can just go to extensions, Inkstitch params, and we're already on a satin stitch. The settings is not in this. So we have a nice looking satin stitch. We're going to go extensions, Inkstitch, tools satin, and right here is multicolor satin. That's what you're looking for. So there's our satin stitch, and right here you have a box for colors and the button for add. So I'm going to add one. Now I have 2 satin stitches. I'm going to change one of those to a different color. And I don't want it an abrupt different color. Maybe that. Let's hit select. This might be easier to see with actual color. Let's go with purple on one of them and a lighter purple on another. Okay, I like that much better. So, but you see in the center that it's an abrupt center. Now you can change that by the overflow left and the overflow right, and add a little bit, and add a little bit. So now you see it. It's starting to overlap the center, and I'll go a little bit more. And doesn't really say, but I'm guessing those are millimeters. So on something that's technically 4 millimeters wide, 0.5 millimeter is not going to be a whole lot, right? Go ahead and set that up. Okay, now it's starting to overlap good. Go to 150. Okay, I think I like how that looks. And then we can zoom in. I'm zooming in with the wheel mouse. Yep, you can see the overlap. So that's good. Got a little bit of pull comp on there, so that's good. And Let's hit apply. I'm going to go into simulate. I expect I won't be using realistic preview near as much as I used to. Why do I have 2 layers? I should not have 2 layers of satin stitch. Oh, I know. I need to get rid of that one, don't I? Because now it's that. Okay. 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 Simulate. So now I shouldn't have, yeah, okay. Now we're good. All right, close that out. Let's go back into the multicolor setting. What does params give us? These settings will be applied to 2 objects. Okay, satin column. Random seed. Oh. Oh. It's considered a split stitch. That makes perfect sense because that's what it is. It's a wide satin stitch that's using a split stitch. Yeah. And which means random jitter for split stitch. Random phase for split stitches. Nope, not that. Let's go with that. Plus or minus percentage. Minimum length, random. Random percentage. Okay. Okay, let's go with 20 and see what that is. Oops. Didn't really do a whole lot. Let's do 50%. Just, we'll exaggerate the heck out of it. I think I'm getting a random jitter. And random phase. Split method. Staggered. Yep, this is going to take a little time to get used to, I believe. Still very cool. Still very cool. Hit apply and quit. So I'm going to do a hat. I'm going to work on this some more. Hopefully I'll know a little bit more about it in my next video where I actually use it to digitize. But you kind of get the idea. Very neat for sure. And let's go ahead and delete that. Okay, so just a couple more things that I want to show you in the new version. If I have a fill, and this has to be a path, so make sure if it tells you, if it complains about it's not a path, make sure you do object to path. And now that we know for sure that it is a path, we're going to go extensions, Inkstitch. Go down to tools, stroke. Yes, stroke on a fill. And then outline. Hit apply. And it's going to change that fill into an outline stroke. And the smoothness, the threshold, the inset, and all that's going to somewhat dictate the shape that it comes out. But there is the outline setting from Inkstitch. Interesting. And the last thing that we're going to cover is if we have a stroke. Sounds bad when I say that, doesn't it? Extensions, Inkstitch, tools, stroke, redwork. Now from redwork, and we just looked at that. Redwork is an old hand embroidery method where embroidery is made sure to stitch every line exactly twice. The main difference between that and auto route running stitch is that it ensures the paths are traversed exactly twice. So let's go with that, and let's make another one here like that. We're going to select both of those. Extensions, Inkstitch, stroke, redwork, hit apply. Hit close, and redwork group. Let's do a simulate on that, and let's see what it looks like. So every single stitch is twice, whereas if you do auto route running stitch, there may be one or two of the lines might only be covered once, and one or two of the lines twice, and maybe even one of the lines will be covered 3 times. But with redwork, it acts like auto route running stitch, but it ensures and it makes sure that every single stitch line is stitched twice only, and twice minimum and maximum is what it's shooting for. So very cool. This I like because I wouldn't say complain, but I have been disappointed a few times on auto route satin stitch where it does do some lines once, twice, 3 times, whatever, and it's fine. It was great, and in some cases that's all you need. But this is an awesome option. So very cool to see that. Very good stuff coming. So that is going to be all for this video, and this is just a sample of what's coming in the next version. A lot of good things. I don't know if there's going to be more things. They might only be working on bug fixes at this point, and they may be planning on releasing the next version pretty soon as they get bugs stamped out and all that. I don't have a date yet. I haven't asked. They probably know. And even if they do know, just because I asked don't mean they're going to tell me. But yeah. So if you want to see this development version in action, actually digitizing some digitizing work, make sure you check out my next video where I'll be digitizing at least 2 different hat designs. One that I want, one that one of my girls wants, and those are both for hats, and I'll be doing that in the next video. So until then, that's all for this video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.